Hi, students. I have really enjoyed looking at your fantasy story beginnings. I have noticed some mistakes that a lot of children are making. And even if you're not making these mistakes, just be mindful and make sure you don't make them as you write the middle of your story. First thing, plot holes. What are plot holes? Plot holes means there's a gap in the story. There is a problem. Like, for example, you said the characters were in a certain place. In the next paragraph, you describe them as being in a new place. But how did that suddenly happen? That leaves the reader confused. How did the characters go from one place to another? You need to explain. Yes? Or maybe you said that one character is evil and then they do something nice in the rest of the story. They help people, they're very kind. That's a plot hole. We don't want holes in our plots. Let's not have them everywhere. Yes? The best way to avoid plot holes is to read the story when you finish writing, maybe a few paragraphs or just one part of the story, then stop and read it and try to see it from the perspective of somebody who does not know your story. Because you know the story in your head, but try to read it from, let's say, my perspective. So when I read the story, will I really understand it? Or your friend will they understand what's happening? And will they follow the sequence of events? So make sure there are no plot holes in your story. Next one is punctuation. So look at this. Let's eat grandma, or is it let's eat grandma? So punctuation is very, very important. First thing I want you to avoid is run on sentences. These are sentences which keep running and running without stopping. We need full stops, guys. So when there is a new subject, you must add a full stop. Or add a connective like and or but or while, after, before. Connect your parts of different sentences or add a full stop. Don't just keep going with your sentences just off one comma after another or nothing. That's even worse. So if there is a new subject, you either need a full stop or a connective. Okay. Um, So, yeah, this is the full stop rule. When there is a new subject, add a full stop. You can even add a semicolon sometimes if the two parts, two sentences are very related to each other. We have talked about this in class all around the year, so you should remember this rule. So look at these. These are sentence openers like after a while, as quick as a flash, as fast as he could, as soon as she could, in the morning, one winter night, unexpectedly, unfortunately, without a sound. All these different openers. What is common? What punctuation do you need to use here? Yes, a comma. Always remember to add comma after openers, sentence openers. Yeah. And please, I see people adding like 20 exclamation marks or like five question marks after a sentence. I know sometimes you want to show drama in your story, like something super exciting happened, or you want to show that the character said something excitedly. Then use a powerful speech verb like the princess exclaimed or the dinosaur said excitedly. Okay? Usually we only add one exclamation mark and one question mark, but it's okay. For our story, you can add up to three exclamation marks and up to two question marks. After that is one too many. You cannot add more than three exclamation marks or two question marks in the story. All right. When you're typing, I can see a lot of mistakes when people are typing. Please don't keep changing font. What is a font? Font is the style of writing that you choose. Some people have chosen a cursive font, that's fine. If you use a print font, that's fine. Please don't choose a very complicated one that is hard to read and don't keep changing your fonts, please. Type your entire story in one dark color, no rainbow stories. Add a space after every punctuation mark. Whether it's a comma, a full stop, exclamation mark, you need a space after it. But you don't need a space before any punctuation marks. Okay, so no space is needed before the punctuation mark. connectives. Connectives are words that connect two parts of a sentence, like after they had their tea, they decided to go for a walk. So, after is a connective here. We talked about connectives before, and there are lots of connectives that we can use, like and, but, after, before. We talked about all these connectives when we talked about I saw a wobble and what was the other one? Fanboys, right? Do you remember that? Maybe I will add a video or a slideshow of about the connectives if somebody wants to have a look. However, when you're using connectives, uh, however, it is good to use connectives. Don't forget to use connectives. And remember that but and are connectives. You don't begin a new sentence with them. You use them in the middle of a sentence as a connective. So, for example, everything was calm and peaceful in the kingdom, but that did not last for too long. No, you don't need a full stop and a capital letter here because but is will connect these two sentences. Yeah? So, not this. What you need is this. Everything was calm and peaceful in the kingdom, but that didn't last for too long. All right, so remember, connectives should be in the middle of the sentence. You shouldn't add a full stop before a connective. Remember these punctuation rules. I is always capital. The I that you use for you. I went there. Yeah. Especially, I see people using them in speech when the characters are talking. It cannot be lowercase. All names begin with capital letter. That means names of characters, names of places, names of day, names of months. They all begin in capital letter. Names of the story and chapters begin with capital letters. If you have different names for your beginning and then in the middle you have a few chapters, so you can add uh, those in title case, which means the first letter of every word is capital. New speech should begin with new line and use speech marks correctly. We just worked on this this week. We talked about speech punctuation. So if you forget any time, you can't remember, go back and review the video that I put in that Google post. Now, these are some phonics and grammar mistakes. Past tense. What is the past tense of is? Was. Please don't write is. Don't write are. You need to write were. Buy? No, no, no. You need to write bought. Not feel. You need to write felt. He felt scared or tired or exhausted or frightened. Drank. Okay, and remember the homophones. We talked about them in the year off and off. I see people using them in the wrong way. To and to. This to with a double O means also. And there. Please remember to use them correctly. Um, Now, these are some language mistakes. Numbers 0 to 9 should be written in words like this. You should spell them out. And then plurals of words ending in Y. If there is no vowel before the Y, then fly becomes flies. Okay? Or sky, skies. The Y goes away, and instead of that, there's a I, and you add a ES. But if you see monkey, we don't remove the I and add ES. No, because monkey has a E before the Y. So there's a vowel before the Y. Yeah, so then you just simply add a S. So just remember the spelling rule. Okay. So that's it. Just remember to not make these mistakes, avoid them. And whenever I correct your work and send it back, make sure you have a look, you correct it. Uh, Sometimes I will make a suggestion. All you have to do is put a check on top of that box. Sometimes I will write a comment. So you have to follow what I'm asking you to do in the comment and then you have to do it. Once you make corrections, you should resend or resubmit the assignment to me so I can have a look. All right, happy writing.